So in this live stream today, we'll have New York open in 30 minutes. So mainly we're looking to see the current price action and analyzing it. Also just a quick review of last week's price action and the sort of key takeaways to learn for the future. I'll also be going through my watch list for this week in terms of coins that have upcoming news events or potential new narratives that can drive the price. So I'll do some analysis on that, and afterwards feel free to drop any coins for me to check out. So last week was actually a pretty bad week to trade just because of how choppy the price action was. So you can see here that on Monday, which was when New York was closed, we had a massive drop during the Asia session, and then it continued the next day in New York. And then obviously after such a large drop and towards the range lows, we looked towards long setups. The issue was that the following few days it's like very choppy, right? You can see price attempting to move up but getting pushed down every time, leaving these sort of bearish wicks, and these wicks really destroyed altcoin setups. So I guess like the key thing to learn from this is that, especially in a week with a lot of red folder news like last week, red folder news on Tuesday all the way through to Friday, it will be ideal to just leave a bit more breathing room in the trading setups. So rider stop losses and just being more patient with it. Just setting the stop loss at the true invalidation point of your trade setups. So in this case here for Bitcoin, the actual long setup presented was a sweep of the lows on Tuesdays, marking the low of the week. Subsequently, leaving behind a bullish order block, which is this candle here, the down close candle that swept out the liquidity and that pushed the price upwards. Right, the price returned back to this bullish order block and was able to hold above it. So based on this logic, the invalidation point of a long idea would be below this candle. But yeah, that's a bit of a rider stop loss, and it takes a lot of patience for it to let it run and play out. And you can see it does eventually play out over the next week. Something similar on altcoins as well. So last week I tried to long AVAX and it didn't go too well because the entry timing was a bit off, and also the invalidation point was too close for how volatile and choppy the market was last week. But the idea behind it was decent because it's based off this very important higher time frame level, weekly fair value gap, also the daily and 4-hour fair value gap. So very important level to hold here. So rather than going for like a more greedy stop loss, what would have worked out better is to just put it at the true invalidation point below the daily fair value gap, and using that sort of stop loss, the trade will still be active. Right, so to sum it up, just be aware of weeks with a lot of red folder news, particularly those involving FOMC, because those tend to bring a lot of volatility. So you can check these news events on forexfactory.com, and I suggest filtering it so that it only shows high impact news and news relating to US dollars. So for this week, you can see that the next news event is on Wednesday. So it could be a good time to trade for today and tomorrow before we see some more volatility on Wednesday. But what can possibly happen is Wednesday brings the manipulated move, and then Thursday brings the reversal and larger expansion. Right? And CPI and PPI is generally quite high impact for crypto, so we can expect it to move the price quite a bit. So in terms of where price is currently at for Bitcoin, you can kind of treat the past month or so as a sort of trading range. And in a trading range, you can use the fixed range rolling profile to help you identify the range highs, range lows, and areas to look for longs and shorts. So generally, you want to look for longs at and below the value area low, which is this dotted blue line here. And you want to look for shorts, or at least stop longing once price has reached above the value area high, which is at 70,800. So as you can see, price is currently at the value area high, so it is considered to be in premium, and longing here does not present favorable risk to reward, and is also lower probability based on a range environment. Right, so it's reasonable to expect a larger retracement at this point, just due to how expansive the move has been, and also in terms of the timing of the move. Right, we had most of this pump occur over the weekend and before New York Open on Monday. So that means the pump happened during Asia session and during weekend trading times. So this indicates a higher chance of this pump getting reversed completely. So just be careful of that. And in terms of longing after a retrace, the key area for me personally is this order block zone right here at 70,400 down to 69,000. And if that level does not hold, we have the point of control at 67,500. But for a bullish market, we do want to see this blue zone hold, and for price eventually sustain above the value area high for a proper breakout setup. Okay, so in summary, price is currently in premium, so we at least stop looking for long setups on Bitcoin. And in terms of take rates for last week, just more patience, right invalidation points for long in the bottom setups, and also just noting how price did react from the value area low and approximately the OT Fibonacci retracement from 0.62 to 0.79. So moving on to altcoins, I do have a watch list here, which comprises of coins that has a upcoming sort of news event or some sort of new narrative to drive the price. So starting with ENA, you'll be aware that it was recently listed and it has achieved the highest returns among major decentralized apps over the last 7 days. So definitely a lot of hype, a lot of narrative to drive this coin. And when there is a prevailing narrative, it's more likely the coin is able to break away from Bitcoin and do its own thing. Right? Narrative is the most important driver of price. So you can see we actually just had a very large pump candle, almost 20%. So what I'm looking at now is for the price to be able to hold this breaker block. Otherwise, we can look to long after a sweep of the lows here. So I'll be keeping an eye on that personally and looking to enter into long positions for ENA. This breaker block is from 1.22 to 1.27. Next up is Ordinal. We have Coinbase futures listing on April the 11th. We have the Stacks Nakamoto upgrade on April the 16th. So upcoming news events and yeah, just a driver for the price. In terms of the price action, I have these two levels marked out here because it's the previous trading range. So pretty much I'm just looking for price to be able to sustain above the previous range highs at 71.23. So an indication of price being able to sustain above range highs is a sort of steady retracement to this order block level and continuing to hold above it. can actually see that price did react from this order block level nicely, but it has rejected already. So we need to move down to lower time frames a bit, and we have a possible entry at 73.8, so I'll mark that out and see how it reacts from there. Right, but pretty much I'm just looking for a range breakout setup on ordinal here, and if that is sustained and confirmed, we can target 85 and 96. Otherwise, if the news turns out to be nothing special, the price can go all the way back down to range lows. So on FTM, we have an upcoming sonic upgrade. It's also an indirect beneficiary of the current Solana network congestion, as it is an alternative. The price action also looks quite promising right now, and it's among the stronger altcoins from what I've seen so far. You can kind of tell from its market structure. Right? Market structure refers to whether the market is making lower highs and lower lows, or making higher lows and higher highs. Okay, so we have a lower low here, but price making a higher high and a higher low. So that is an indication of a market structure shift and a change of the trend to an uptrend. So you can see we have something like this here. We have a previous high being broken, and price is now able to sustain above that. It created a higher low at 0.85 compared to the previous low at 0.77. Right, so just based on market structure, it does look quite strong. So for an entry and trade setup, we can look for this breaker block to be held as support. Right, if it's able to be held as support, we can look for a continuation setup all the way to the equal highs at 1.23. So I'll have this level set as my alert. And then the invalidation point would be probably this swing low here. That will be about 8%, and does give some time for the narrative to play out. So moving on to alt, we have Arthur Hayes' rumor potentially driving the narrative, and stakers are highly likely to receive airdrops relating to this coin. In terms of the price action, we have sort of a channel here. And right now price is in the middle of the channel. So we preferably want to long a bit closer to the bottom channel, right? And we can kind of have a dynamic invalidation of the trade. That is, if price goes below this trend line here and sustains below this trend line. So despite the narrative, there's no clear trade setup in my opinion for alt, but if we do get a healthy retracement closer to the bottom trend line of the channel, we can have a potential long setup, and it can move all the way up to the upper channel. So yeah, just keep it simple for this one. Next one, we have Dogecoin. We have Doge Day on 20th of April because that's 420. So we can potentially have price rallying up leading up to that day, and then potentially selling off on the 20th of April. I can see here, actually, I did try to long Dogecoin last week, just based off a range breakout setup, where we have value area high, so price moved above, so we want price to sustain the order block level and confirm the breakout. But unfortunately, yeah, we did have some choppy price action on Bitcoin last week that sort of ruined the movement of most altcoins in the market. But where it's currently at is actually looking quite promising, because we have a very strong shift in market structure and bullish order flow ongoing right now on Dogecoin. Okay, so we have these lows here being swept up, price momentarily breaking below these 2 wicks here where most stop losses are lying, and then energetically buying back and moving above and sustaining above, and finally breaking above the previous high to form a higher high in the price action. So that's indicative of strength and bullish order flow. We also have this 4-hour fair value gap, which confirmed as support. So it is looking quite solid so far. Okay, so price is now back above the value area high, and yeah, it's looking pretty solid for a range breakout setup. So we can look to see how price reacts from the 4-hour order block in alignment with the current retracement on Bitcoin. If it's able to hold this level and sustain the bullish order flow, we can see price move much higher to at least these equal highs here at 0.23. So yeah, just that for the upside for now. We can also use fib extensions to map out the possible expansion targets. So for the short term, maybe up to 0.213. But ultimately, it should comfortably go above 0.23 if this bullish order flow is able to be sustained. And we do have some time before the 20th of April, so there is a lot of room for upside on Dogecoin. Next up, looking at Anchor protocol. So Anchor taps into various narratives in the crypto market. So it's an AI coin, which is quite hot lately, but sort of cooling off. If you check out the other AI coins like Render, right, which is kind of stuck in range for a while. Same with Ocean and FET. Right, on FET, on Ocean here, the breaker block did not sustain, so it's now back in a sort of ranging environment, so moving back to range lows. But for Anchor here, it also has the additional narrative of being one of the top decentralized physical infrastructure network, DePIN. If you're not sure what DePIN is, you can just Google search it and learn more about it, but it's kind of like a relatively new narrative in the crypto market. And when something is fresh, it has a lot of upside in crypto. So just based on that narrative, it's on my watch list. Based on the current price action, we have this sort of horizontal trading range, and it's currently at the range highs. So just in terms of a trading setup, not looking too long at range highs. So just looking for a move back to range lows to load up on long positions and see if this narrative can drive the price higher this month in April. SCG Stargate is kind of a shitcoin. It's relatively low cap. We have the Stargate V2 launch, which can bring some attention back to this coin. So it's now on my watch list. So in terms of shitcoin price action, usually the way you trade it is to have a rider stop loss, so you don't get rigged out. Right, it does have some big wicks sometimes, and other than that, you just look for some sort of setup to enter into a long position. So right now we have a possible break of market structure, forming higher highs and higher lows, right? Just based on the price action since 2nd of April last week. So it's overall looking quite strong. We can look for an entry from this 4-hour fair value gap as a sort of like brief retrace. So we want to see a solid reaction from this zone if price does retrace back to here. Otherwise, we can just wait a bit further and see if there's some other setup provided for it. And the last coin I'm looking at is Mantle, MNT. So it's currently guaranteeing high returns for Mantle stakers through Athena/Pendle. We also have the Puff airdrop, right? So a lot of attention on this coin right now. It's currently only listed on Bybit, but you can see that it's quite strong lately, right? In terms of pumping up, retracing back down, and going back up to the previous highs. And actually, just today, it retested the previous high at 1.51. So, yeah, decent retrace right now, but looking promising just in terms of the market structure and how it's able to actually go back to test the high at 1.52 after a brief retrace, rather than just completely selling off the pump and going all the way back down to something like 0.75. So in terms of a long entry, probably somewhere around 1.35, previous resistance level flipped into support, and also a order block level. So I'll have this level set as an alert and see if we can catch a sort of continuation setup for April. Alright, so that's it for my watch list. I'm happy to look at any other coins you guys would like to look at. So yeah, just drop them in chat if there's anything. Okay, let's have a look at NEO. Okay, yeah, can definitely understand the sentiment to look for shorts after such a significant move. So we can actually kind of look at past price action to see like how NEO reacts after such a large pump. Right, so last time I had this sort of move in November last year and March this year, so just last month. You can see it's not actually that straightforward to short these sort of movements because it just chops around for a while first, right? It goes down, right, and then suddenly it bounces back up. So it round trips a lot of people trying to short it. But definitely at its current price, it's testing the previous highs from March at 19.19, and quite often these sort of pumps are retraced. So in terms of a swing setup, it's leaning towards a short, but in terms of a scalp setup, it's easier to follow the momentum and just try longs for tight invalidations. But to short this sort of coin, you would want to see at least a break of market structure on the 1 hour time frame, and then often after that break of structure we have a sweep of liquidity, sweep of previous highs that suddenly shakes out and sort of round trips these short positions. So basically what I'm talking about is a swing low being formed and a market structure shift by forming a lower low, and then so price goes down a bit, right, for a while, and then we have a sudden pump that sort of like sweeps out the early short positions, that round trips over these shorts that didn't close at the bottom, and then we have likely the more sustained move to the downside. So shorting these sort of setups, it's not really something you want to blindly jump into. You want to be very careful and be patient for some additional price action to form. No worries. Yep, anything else you guys want me to check? Just throw them into chat. Cool. Let's have a look at some AI coins, the sector, and see how it's going. Usually coins in the same sector kind of move together vaguely. So yeah, cross-sector rotation of money is a thing in crypto, where like coins move from one sector to another. So last month and in February especially, AI coins did have very strong movement to the upside, but that has sort of cooled off a bit now. And a big indication of that is the major AI coins like Render sort of just going sideways. But actually, it's looking pretty promising for a long setup, personally. Right, you can kind of use this fractal as well. It's looking very similar to this sort of drop and reverse price action from March, where the price suddenly went down quite a fair few percentage points and then suddenly reversed back up. And the purpose of this drop here is just to get everyone spooked out and sell their positions before reversing back up. So Render is definitely a very solid coin, especially for spot, and it's not really something that you want to be managing too much. If you're holding spot, you can just hold it for longer term, right? These sort of big drops, even like 20% to 30%, are often very quickly retraced and exceeded again. So yeah, going back to the fractal, it's looking quite similar because we have these very strong sweeps of range low here, these lows here, also these previous lows here from last week. That price aggressively dug below this low here, and then we saw a strong buyback, and then now we're sort of seeing a market structure shift, and also the 200 EMA on the 4-hour time frame being reclaimed. So actually, long positions is looking quite promising for now. So I'll check back on this tomorrow and see if there is a good entry to take. So XAI, pretty similar situation. in terms of the price being stuck in a range, right? The AI sector has indeed cooled off a bit. So these coins are sort of just sort of ranging a bit and waiting for money flow back into it in the future. But right now I can see, just keep it simple for XAI. We have these range lows here being respected, right? Lows being respected is a good sign of the range continuing. So over this month, we can expect a movement back up to the range highs. And yeah, pretty similar outlook for AGIX. We have equal highs at 1.47 as the range highs target. We have the 4-hour 200 EMA being reclaimed, so that's good. We have this aggressive sweep of lows as well. So yeah, same outlook, sort of ranging environment. Over this month, we can expect a gradual move back up to the range highs for AGIX. Other AI coins, Ocean, also reclaimed the 200 EMA. So yeah, coins in the sector move together. So AI coins in general, we can look for long setups to hold over this month, and generally looking quite promising. Let's have a quick look at FET as well. Right, so I had this marked out for a range breakout setup last week because the price went above the value area high. So once the price goes above the value area high for a range breakout, we want to see the 4-hour order block being respected, but I can see that it did not get respected, so it was not a range breakout. So FET actually looks not as good as the other ones I just looked at. It's kind of stuck in a sort of tighter trading range. So yeah, just a bit more patience on this one. No setup just yet. Right, so we have New York Open now. Let's have a look at what the market is up to. So New York Open 7 minutes ago. So yeah, we have a sort of downside move in this open. So as I said before, probably just a retracement after such a significant move over the Asia session and weekend trading session. Right, the Asia pumps are quite often reversed by the New York session. So let's see how this sort of zone here reacts if price goes back to it. But yeah, as I said before, no longs right now, just due to how far extended the price is and how it's above the value area high. Yeah, how's the audio? Cosmic is saying that it's a bit choppy. Could be some issues with my internet today. But yeah, if the audio is not great, this will be uploaded to YouTube. So if you would like to check through the recording for the watch list for this month, you can feel free to afterwards. Hey Neon, good to see you. Cool. Alright, anything else to check out in this market? So since Neon is here, Neon, are you available to speak a bit, share your thoughts on the market and where Bitcoin is at right now? Very interested to hear your thoughts if you're available. Thanks.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, so I was one of those who was thinking that $59,000 lows is possible, but recently I saw that a lot of retailers are targeting the same area, and now I am a little bit scared and confused that there are less chances, less possibility that the market can go down because if you know that halving dates got a lot of attention this cycle, and most of the retailers have learned it, and they think that this is something magical, and people actually want free halving dump right before the halving, and they want to buy that dump. And market always front run retailers, and retailers most of the time their ideas can be counter traded, and that this is one of the reason that I am no longer confident in Bitcoin. And
Um, uh, can't hear you anymore, Neon, but yeah, definitely agree with you there. Actually, the Bitcoin halving is something we should know as well. So we have the Bitcoin halving happening in 10 days, and historically, on leading up to the halving, we have bullish price action, and then after the halving, we have sort of a dump or like sizable retracement in the market. So yeah, that's definitely something to watch out for. So on 19th of April, the Bitcoin halving, and then we can sort of observe and see how the Bitcoin price action goes after that. But yeah, definitely with trading, you don't want to get too excited when you see these sort of like big pump candles, because we've often seen how these pump candles can be just as quickly retraced uh, and crashed away. Right, awesome. So I'll probably look to wrap it up around here. If there's anything else you guys will want me to look at, you can check into the live stream trading chat now. But yeah, for now, no trades at current market price, but definitely a lot of interesting setups I'm observing for throughout this week and throughout this month as well for swings. Okay, awesome. Thank you guys for tuning in today. So I've rescheduled my weekly streams to Monday, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is the New York 30 minutes before New York Open. So yeah, these are weekly streams. Hope to see you guys again next week. Thanks again for tuning in.